This podcast is brought to you by Customplan Financial Advisors Inc, an independent insurance managing general agency in Canada. FinancialPodcast.ca was developed with one goal in mind: to educate Canadians on important topics that affect their financial well-being and make it readily available to all. We welcome you to plug in and learn with us. If you have questions, please email us at contact@financialpodcast.ca.
Dennis Roberts here with the Customplan Financial Podcast. And today we've got Gary Poyer with us from Aspire Personal Achievement. And what I'm going to have you do, Gary, is tell us a little bit about your background and how Aspire Personal Achievement came about.
Sure. Well, following university, I spent 27 years in the financial services industry, the last 15 as a financial planner. I started my career in the banking sector, moved to Investors Group, where I attained my Certified Financial Planner designation, and I finished up working with RBC Royal Bank. As a financial planner, my original focus was in helping my clients prepare for their retirement from the financial perspective. But over time, I became more and more interested in helping my clients to think about how they wanted their retirement to unfold. That is, I became more interested in helping them to create a vision for the kind of retirement that they really wanted. I became more concerned with making sure that my client had clarity and direction for their retirement rather than the financial means to live in retirement. And I guess not only did I want my client to enjoy retirement, I wanted them to have a retirement that was unique and vibrant and meaningful and true to their heart. But this approach really wasn't what I was compensated to do. And if I wanted to pursue it, I'd have to create my own company, which is what I did. And in May of 2013, I left RBC and created Aspire Personal Achievement.
Well, that sounds interesting because I know a lot of people think, well, I'm going to need X number of dollars when I retire, but really don't have a plan as to what they're going to do. And I guess without the plan, you really don't know what it's going to cost to carry out the retirement that you do want to have.
Exactly, because money and time are resources, but you still need to know how to use those resources if you want to have a fabulous retirement or the kind of retirement that is possible for you.
Well, that sounds interesting. So how did you become interested in this approach to retirement planning then?
Well, as a financial planner, I was always interested in finding a way to help my client, to add value to my client's situation, while at the same time, I wanted to differentiate myself from the competition. And around 2005, I happened to read a couple of books from the personal growth industry, one by Brian Tracy, the other by Stephen R. Covey. And the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, has a habit in there called begin with the end in mind. And when I read that line, I immediately thought of retirement planning, and a lady aged 85 came to mind, and I thought, well, that's kind of interesting. I wonder if someone aged 85 would look back over their retirement over the previous 20 years and what she would want to see and what she wouldn't want to see. And I just got the idea that maybe you could plan your retirement from the perspective of being age 85. And then over the following several years, I read more and more books in the personal growth and success genre, and I discovered even more personal growth principles. And the interesting thing was that these principles could easily be applied to retirement planning. So as a result, my approach to retirement planning just evolved to the point where we're at right now.
You are listening to FINANCIALPODCAST.ca.
I mean, it's kind of a little bit like building a house. You have to know what the end, what the end product is going to look like, and then you need a blueprint to follow through on it, and so that you do, in the end, have what you set out to achieve.
Exactly.
So tell us a little bit more about your approach to retirement planning then.
Well, first of all, I believe that retirement can be the best time of your life. A lot of people kind of see retirement as a time where they start to wind down or where their best years are behind them. But I honestly believe that retirement can be the best time of your life. But it all depends on how you think about retirement and life in general. And I believe that retirement offers you a world of potential. But the thing is, this potential is not always evident. It's not always clear. You have to work in order to reveal the potential that's before you. And I guess the target market that really struggles with retirement is professionals and business owners, because they've been so busy building their business or their career. And they don't seem to realize that there is a lot of potential before them, but they need to really think about what they want and go through a process in order to have this potential revealed. And I guess my approach is really based on personal growth and the principles that come from the personal growth industry.
Well, that sounds good. So how does one uncover the potential being offered by their retirement?
Well, again, it goes back to how you think about retirement and your life, because I find that when it comes to retirement planning, most people will think from one of two perspectives. First, they'll think from the financial perspective. How much money will I need to live on in retirement? How much money will I have? How should my retirement funds be invested, and so forth. And the second way that people think about retirement is from the perspective of their life today. They look at what they like to do today, and they kind of project those activities into their retirement. Or they think about an activity such as a hobby that they'd like to try, and again, they project that activity into their retirement. But it's my belief that there are many more perspectives that you can look at retirement from. And the way that you uncover the potential that your retirement is offering you is by looking at retirement through different perspectives. And what I've done is I've created something called the philosophy of retirement, which is a set of principles with accompanying perspectives that help you see all that retirement can be in your life.
So ideally then, what's the best time for a person to really start planning for their retirement?
Well, I like to say around age 50 to 55. And the reason for that is when you reach age 50 and age 55, you can see how your parents and their friends have experienced retirement. And you can learn from what they've done and what they haven't done. And a lot of people don't have a vision for their life. And age 50 to age 55 is a perfect age to really be thinking about what you want your retirement to be, to create a vision for your retirement. Because if you know what it is that you want to do in retirement, it's easier to save. Because you have that motivation or that inspiration to actually put the money aside, because you know what it is that you want to do in retirement. And, they say that, the promise of the future isn't free. There's a price to be paid. But once you know what that promise is, once you can actually visualize what it is that you want to do in retirement, it's easier to save, and you'll do what's necessary in order to make your vision come true.
I think that's so true, because if you don't have a target to aim at, it's exactly what you hit is nothing.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
So tell us a little bit about the first principle of the philosophy of retirement then, or
Okay. Well, as I mentioned just a minute ago, the philosophy of retirement is it's a term that I actually coined, and it consists of 7 principles. And the first principle is all things are created twice, first as a thought or an idea, and then again in reality or physical form. And this principle conveys the message that retirement is created twice, first in your mind, and then again in reality or as you live out your life. And Dennis, everything you see throughout the day was created twice. You know, your clothes, your vehicle, the buildings around you, all of these things were created twice. First as a creation in someone's mind, and then again when the shirt or the vehicle or the building was constructed. And your retirement is going to be created twice. And the question is, in whose mind is it going to be created for the first time? Is it going to be in your own mind, or is it going to be in the mind of your friend who comes up with an idea for you guys to do on the weekend? Excuse me. And this principle really makes my clients and my workshop participants aware that they're in control. It's through thought that anything is done. And if you're aware of what you want, as you just said, if you have a target to aim for, it's easier to hit. So this first principle conveys the message that retirement will be created twice, but it also encourages you to actually participate in the creation of your retirement. You don't want your retirement just to happen. You want some control and direction in your retirement. And it also conveys the message that retirement can be seen from more than one perspective. And with this particular principle, it's the perspective of the big picture.
You are listening to
FINANCIALPODCAST.ca.
Okay, so that would be the perspective that accompanies the principle 1, is being able to see the big picture and give you something to work for and to target.
Exactly. And when I talk to people about the perspective, the big picture perspective, the easiest way to explain it is through the use of a timeline. Because if you look at a timeline, you can see your past, and you can see where you are today, and you can see your future. Now, you don't know how long your future is actually going to last, but you know what your past has been like. And I have people sit down and describe for me what their past has been like. And it takes a while to do this, because you can't, just sit down and in 5 minutes come up with the answer as to what your past has been like. But if you can describe what your past has been like, you can use it as a reference point for your future. And you can define the kind of future that you want to have, or you can define the kind of retirement you want to have. So when I say all things are created twice, first as a thought and then again in reality, by using a timeline, you can say, okay, well, this is what my past has been like. I know what it's been like. Here I am today. How do I want to define my future? What kind of a future do I want? And by defining it, and I'll give you an example, I want my retirement, I want my future to be unique, and I want it to be enjoyable, vibrant, meaningful, and true to my heart. As soon as I put those words down on my timeline, I've just created my retirement for the first time, because now I have like an overarching purpose or overarching description of what my retirement is going to be like. And every day when I wake up, I can say, okay, that's what my target is. That's my overarching purpose, or that's my goal. And excuse me, I've just created my retirement for the first time. I haven't given it a lot of detail yet, but I've defined it and I've created it for that first time. And again, I've participated in it someone else hasn't told me what my retirement's going to be like.
Well, there's an old parable that says when you have a people without a vision, they will perish. And, that kind of reminds me of the same thing here. If you don't have a vision for your retirement, your plans for retirement will not succeed, or they will perish.
Well, exactly. All you have to do is go to any mall or Walmart or Superstore and watch the number of retired people kind of wandering around. It's like they're drifting through life, through their retirement. And I just think, what a waste. They could be doing so much more with their life. And I'm not sure whether they undervalue their life or undervalue their own worth, but if they actually thought about what it is they wanted to accomplish in life, they could be doing so much more. And business people and professionals, they focus on success throughout their working life. But I don't know that anybody really stops and thinks what a successful retirement looks like. And that's another thing that I try and have people do for me. Define what success means for you in retirement.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, I see a lot of people that they're aimlessly wandering without direction in retirement, and it's almost something to be dreaded.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I find, some people are thrilled to be retired, and some people just see retirement as the worst possible thing for them to be in. And I think it all goes back to their mindset. They're looking at retirement way differently. And, the people that see retirement as the worst thing that could happen to them, they're seeing it from a negative perspective, and they're missing out on the potential that their retirement's offering them.
I couldn't agree more. Absolutely. So in addition to the philosophy of retirement, I understand that you encourage the use of a retirement life plan. Can you tell me about the retirement life plan and
Sure.
what it is?
Yeah, the retirement life plan is, I guess, it's the blueprint for the kind of retirement that you want to have. Because if you go through the philosophy of retirement and you look at retirement from a number of different perspectives and you create a vision for the kind of retirement that you want to have, the next step is to actually document it so that you don't forget what it is that you want to do. And that's where the retirement life plan comes in. It's kind of like a non-financial plan where you plan out your retirement. You acknowledge that the first 10 years of your retirement are going to be different than the second 10 years, and that you need to do things in that first 10 years that require energy and mobility, because that second 10 years you may not be able to do them. So the retirement life plan basically is your action plan where you think about the different areas of your life and what it is that you want to do in each of those areas. And it's your action plan, basically.
You are listening to FinancialPodcast.ca.
So rather than just being a financial planner and aiming at a certain amount of assets when a person retires, I mean, what you're adding to this is now a plan on what you're going to do with this and what it's going to cost and how long you're going to be able to do it, and really motivating them to be able to put something together so that they've got some excitement, I guess is what would probably be a good word, is to look forward to it.
Exactly. What I want is for my clients to hit the ground running. I don't want them to, retire, their 65th birthday comes along, they retire. And then, the husband looks at the wife and says, okay, now what? What are we going to do? Well, let's take a couple of years to figure it out. The problem with that is they may not have a couple of years, right? We don't know how long we're going to live, and we don't know how long we're going to have our health. We don't know how long our spouse is going to live. We don't know how long our spouse is going to have good health. So the worst thing that anybody can do is say, okay, I'm just going to put everything off until retirement. We tend to procrastinate, but if you put it off to retirement and then all of a sudden you got all this time on your hands, you're going to put it off until tomorrow and then tomorrow and then tomorrow, and you'll never get around to it. And time goes by so fast, you'll be 5 years into your retirement, still planning, and the problem is you can't get those 5 years back. And so yeah, I want people to know exactly what they're going to do with their time, and if they know what they're going to do with their time, they can figure out how to use their financial resources the best way as well.
Well, I really think, having a good retirement plan in place is so important, because I've seen in my lifetime so many people that when they retired, they had nothing to really live for. And after they retired, it wasn't long till, and I used to say, they expired. They lost their purpose for living.
Absolutely. And, I ask my clients 2 questions. Number one, what do you expect from life? And, a lot of people say, oh, I don't know, I've had a pretty good life. I expect, happiness or whatever. But the companion question, maybe the more important question, is what does life expect from you? And that goes to purpose. And even if in retirement, if you have a purpose, you have a reason to get out of bed, and you have a reason to face life with abandon, I guess. You want to get out of bed, and you want to get busy. You have direction in your life. A lot of people say, well, I'll take life one day at a time. Well, that's all any of us can do. Take life one day at a time, but we can still take life one day at a time, but have direction. And again, that's what the philosophy of retirement and the retirement life plan is all about: giving people direction and clarity for their retirement, so that they don't reach age 85 and say, "Oh, I missed a great opportunity." My retirement. Well, I actually have 2 full-day workshops. The first workshop is called Seeing Retirement Clearly, Uncovering the Potential Your Retirement is Offering You. And in that workshop, it runs from about 8:30 till 4. And in that workshop, I teach my participants the 7 principles and the perspectives that go along with it. So when they leave that full day workshop, they should have a pretty good idea as to what the potential is that their retirement is offering them. And then the follow-up workshop is called Experiencing Retirement Fully, Realizing the Potential Your Retirement is Offering You. And in that's where I teach the retirement life plan. And I help the clients along with the beginning of the retirement life plan. But because the retirement life plan is really a living document, they're not going to complete it all in a 6 or 7 hour period. They're going to have to complete it over time, but they'll at least have a pretty good start on their retirement life plan. So basically, the 2 full day workshops is how I promote myself.
FINANCIALPODCAST.ca.
Well, that's very good. So why don't you just take a moment, Gary, to just let people who may be listening to this, how they can get in touch with you and maybe get it signed up for the 2-day seminar that you would have.
Sure. Well, they can email me at Gary, Gary, at aspirepersonalachievement.com, or they can call me, and my phone number is 403-835-0615, 403-835-0615. And I also have a website at aspirepersonalachievement.com.
Very good. Well, we've been listening to Gary Poier from Aspire Personal Achievement, and has provided some great insights for us today. So thank you, Gary, for joining us. And we'll look maybe forward to having you join us again sometime.
Well, thank you very much. That'd be great.
Thank you. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
The views expressed here are those of the participants and not those of Customplan Financial Advisors Inc., its affiliates, or subsidiaries. This is not intended to serve as a complete analysis of every material fact regarding any company, industry, or security. This presentation may contain forward-looking statements. Investors are cautioned not to place undue reliance on such statements, as actual results could vary. This site and podcasts are for general information purposes only and does not constitute investment advice and is not intended as an endorsement of any specific investment product or service. Individual investors should consult with an investment professional about their personal situation. Past performance is not indicative of future results. If you are unsure about what is the best course of action for you in your financial planning, then we suggest you consult a fee-based independent financial advisor or get in touch with us to discuss your individual situation. Our phone number is 604-687-7773.